What's up, Husky Nation? My name's Ava Inesta, and I am so excited to be the new host of Husky ReConn alongside no one other than Head Coach Jim Mora. Coach, it is your second season as head coach of the Huskies. Bringing the team to a bowl game for the first time since 2015 was huge for the program, but nowhere near your end goal. This season, the mindset has shifted, and you are now promoting the Connecticut Football Reload. So can you tell me what the Reload means to you?
Yeah, I think that's interesting. That's kind of something that, we put on social media and people just kind of ran with. To me, it's just, reloading our expectations, resetting our standard, elevating everything that we do, the way we prepare, the way we work, the way we talk, the way we treat each other, our expectations for ourselves and our teammates, not being satisfied with being average or being close, only being satisfied with, working to attain perfection and at the end of the day, winning. Regardless of circumstances, finding a way to win.
Yeah, speaking of new things, you have a lot of new guys on the team, a lot of new transfers, and by this time you've had a lot of time to see them in action as camp is officially over. Can you tell me your initial thoughts on the newcomers and what they bring to the team?
Yeah, I really like the guys that we added to our team. And we're talking about specifically about transfers right now, and I think that they bring a level of maturity. Obviously, they're a little bit more physically developed. They've played at this level, so they understand the intensity of this level. I think that our recruiting staff and our assistant coaches did a great job of vetting these guys and bringing the right type of people into the program, guys that aren't selfish, that do care about the team, that are fully invested, totally committed, and they've brought a ton of value to our team in the locker room, in the meeting room, and I think, we'll find out, but my hunch is especially on the field.
Yeah, so switching gears to the veterans, you have a lot of returning players this season, and you could say that a lot of the team leadership remains, but what have you seen in terms of team chemistry, leadership from day one of camp till now, and who has stepped up to that role so far?
It's always Christian Haynes and Jackson Mitchell that we talk about, and it's so true. They're soft-spoken, their actions speak louder than their words, but when they do speak, their words match their actions. But we've got a lot of guys that on this team that are leaders. You look at a guy like Durante Jones and the emotion and the passion that he brings. That's a different type of leadership than Jackson Mitchell's, but it's a type of leadership. Eric Watts, who doesn't say a lot, but when he does, it has so much emphasis. On offense, we've got a bunch of guys. Cam Ross, who hasn't been real active this camp, but people really respect him. I think leadership's about respect. It's about trust. But we've got just a unique team. I say they all lead in their own way. And it's fun to be around them because there's this total buy-in, total commitment, an amazing sense of team over self. I just don't worry about our attitude, I don't worry about guys stepping out of line. I think the guys that have a propensity to do that have kind of flushed it from their system. If they haven't, we've got enough guys around them that'll put pressure on them to make sure that they conform to what we want to do.
Yeah, a huge question surrounding this camp has been the quarterback situation. Obviously, it's a great problem to have a lot of guys with talent on your roster, but at the end of the day, only one guy can have that starting spot when the lights come on. So what have you seen out of guys like Zion, Taekwon, and Joe that have really stuck out to you this camp?
Well, I think first and foremost, just their attitude and the way they've competed really hard with each other, and yet the way they've still supported each other. That's rare. I think sometimes when you take a while to name a starting quarterback, there isn't a starting quarterback that's has already been there and is experienced and a veteran guy. People think that it's a negative, but I think it's a positive because we've had specifically those three guys that have really pushed each other and reached new heights. And so I think it's a real positive, the competition there. And we have, we're naming a starter. So do you want me to tell you?
If you want to, it's up to you.
I'll tell you, yeah. So it was, like I said, it was a great camp, great competition. I think we have three guys that are all worthy of being starters, but we decided that at this point in time, the best thing for our team going forward is to go with Joe. And, that was exciting for him, and then it was difficult for Zion to hear, and it was difficult for Taekwon to hear. They were certainly disappointed, as you'd expect them to be, but they're team first guys and they're true competitors. I think more than anything, Taekwon knows how fragile that starting job can be. And so the emphasis to him on staying ready and being ready, and same thing with Zion. Zion was thrust into it last year, so he's been there. So, it's a really nice feeling to have three guys that can go out and win football games for you. And you're not going to have any doubt about what happens if someone has to go in the game and replace the other quarterback. And to me, it's a luxury that I haven't seen many times in my life. And, I credit those three guys specifically, and, of course, Nick with the way he coaches them for being where we are today.
I'm so excited for what the season's going to bring. I can feel the energy is so high. We are all counting down the days until the Huskies will open up against NC State on August 31st at 7:30 under the lights at Rentschler Field. You don't want to miss it. Coach, thank you so much for letting me hop on and be part of the team.
Well, thanks for doing what you're doing. It's awesome to see your work.
Yeah.